The Abrams tank had never tasted Russian blood like this before.
Огонь!
Its 120mm cannon turned an entire occupied village into a smoking graveyard, while terrified enemy soldiers scrambled for cover that simply did not exist against such overwhelming firepower. Building after building exploded as Ukrainian special forces closed in from every direction, hunting survivors through streets littered with burning wreckage. By the time the sun reached its peak, this Russian stronghold had been completely erased from the map. And the soldiers who once defended it were either dead, captured, or running for their lives. This is the complete breakdown of an operation that showcased Western firepower at its most devastating. The beast awakens for battle. Russian forces had transformed this quiet village into a fortress over 11 weeks of uncontested occupation. Every strategic building had been reinforced with sandbags and concrete barriers. Machine gun nests covered every major intersection. Anti-tank teams positioned themselves at elevated positions with clear firing lanes toward expected approach routes. Underground bunkers connected key defensive positions, allowing troops to move between them without exposure. The commander responsible for this sector believed his position could withstand any assault Ukrainian forces might attempt. Intelligence gathered through weeks of surveillance told Ukrainian planners everything they needed to know about enemy dispositions. Reconnaissance drones flying at altitudes beyond detection mapped every fortified position. Thermal imaging revealed troop concentrations inside specific structures. Communication intercepts exposed defensive plans and reinforcement schedules. Ground observers hidden in surrounding terrain counted vehicles and noted patrol patterns. By the time operational planning began, Ukrainian commanders knew this village better than many of its Russian occupants. The decision to employ the M1 Abrams as assault spearhead reflected both tactical necessity and strategic confidence. Previous attempts to dislodge Russian defenders through infantry assault had produced unacceptable casualties without achieving objectives. Artillery bombardment had damaged structures, but failed to break defensive cohesion. Only direct assault by heavy armor offered realistic prospects for success. The Abrams, with its combination of firepower, protection, and mobility, represented the perfect weapon for this specific tactical problem. Tank crews selected for the operation understood they were being trusted with irreplaceable military assets. Ukraine possessed only limited numbers of these advanced Western vehicles. Losing one would represent significant degradation of offensive capability across the entire front. But the crews also understood that their training and equipment gave them advantages Russian defenders could not match. The composite armor protecting them could withstand hits that would destroy any other vehicle in Ukrainian inventory. Their thermal sights could detect enemies through walls and darkness. Their main gun could eliminate any fortification the Russians had constructed. Final preparations consumed the night before the assault as crews conducted exhaustive equipment checks. Every mechanical system was tested and verified functional. Ammunition was loaded according to anticipated target sequences with high explosive rounds positioned for immediate access. Communication systems were synchronized with infantry units that would follow the armored advance. Fuel tanks were filled to maximum capacity, ensuring operational range exceeded any possible requirement. Nothing that human effort could control was left to chance. The Abrams emerged from concealment as dawnlight began painting the horizon. Its turbine engine produced a distinctive sound that Russian veterans had learned to associate with impending destruction. The 70-ton vehicle accelerated toward the village with surprising speed, covering open ground before defenders could properly react to warning calls crackling over their radios. Dust clouds announced the approach, but by the time sentries understood what they were seeing, the tank was already within firing range. First shot of the operation targeted a machine gun position that Russian commanders had considered the cornerstone of their outer defensive ring. The gunner acquired the target through thermal optics and reported ready. The commander gave authorization and the main cannon erupted with a blast that could be heard kilometers away. The round crossed the intervening distance faster than human perception could track and struck the fortified position with catastrophic effect. Sandbag walls that had seemed impenetrable simply vanished in the explosion. The soldiers inside ceased to exist. The psychological shockwave from that first shot propagated through Russian positions faster than any radio message could travel. Defenders who had felt secure behind prepared fortifications suddenly understood those defenses offered no protection against the weapon now hunting them. Some soldiers immediately abandoned their positions, seeking whatever shelter might save them from the destruction advancing toward them. Others froze in place, unable to process the implications of what they had just witnessed. Defensive coordination collapsed before the assault had truly begun. A Bradley fighting vehicle advanced from the western approach, creating the pincer formation that would trap defenders between converging streams of firepower. Its 25mm chain gun began engaging targets with sustained bursts that shredded lighter structures and suppressed any enemy soldier foolish enough to expose himself. The Bradley commander maintained constant communication with the Abrams crew, coordinating target selection to ensure no defensive position escaped attention. Together, the two vehicles created overlapping fields of destruction that Russian forces had no answer for. Building after building fell to the methodical armored advance. The Abrams identified structures containing enemy troops through thermal signatures and eliminated them with single well-aimed shots. Soldiers attempting to flee between positions were cut down by the Bradley covering escape routes. Russian anti-tank teams that had successfully engaged Ukrainian armor in previous battles found their weapons useless against the Abrams composite armor. Rounds that would have penetrated older vehicles simply bounced off without effect, leaving the crews inside barely aware they had been targeted. The village that Russian commanders had believed could withstand any assault was being systematically dismantled in less than an hour. Smoke rose from dozens of destroyed structures. Bodies lay in streets where soldiers had been caught attempting to reposition. Survivors huddled in basements and interior rooms, praying the advancing armor would pass them by. The defensive network that had taken weeks to construct was being erased with terrifying speed by an enemy that possessed capabilities beyond anything they had been prepared to face. Hunters enter the killing ground. Ukrainian special operations soldiers advanced into the village once armored vehicles had completed their devastating preparatory work. These Azov fighters understood they were entering one of warfare's most dangerous environments. Urban combat favors defenders who know the terrain and have prepared fighting positions at key choke points. But the Russians remaining in this village possessed neither advantage. Their defensive plans had been built around positions that no longer existed. They were scattered survivors hiding wherever they could find momentary shelter. The transition from armored assault to infantry clearance required precise coordination to prevent friendly fire incidents. Tank crews marked structures they had confirmed destroyed while identifying buildings that might still contain enemy troops. Infantry team leaders absorbed this information and planned approach routes that minimized exposure during movement between objectives. Radio communication maintained constant awareness of friendly positions as soldiers dispersed throughout the village to begin systematic clearance operations. First structure assigned to the lead clearance team showed obvious signs of recent occupation. Furniture had been arranged as makeshift barricades visible through windows shattered by nearby explosions. Ammunition casings carpeted the floor, suggesting defensive fire had originated from this position during the armored assault. Whether occupants had fled or died could only be determined through direct entry and room-by-room search of the entire structure. The team stacked beside the entry point, executing movements they had rehearsed thousands of times during training. Each soldier knew his assigned responsibility within the choreography of violence about to unfold. Breathing slowed as focus sharpened to exclude everything except the immediate task. The team leader gave the signal and they flowed through the doorway as a coordinated unit. Weapons swept every corner while eyes searched for threats among debris and shadows filling the space. A Russian soldier emerged from concealment and opened fire before the team had finished entering. His shots went wide as fear and adrenaline destroyed the accuracy that training had instilled. Return fire was immediate and devastatingly precise. The defender dropped before he could adjust his aim. The team continued clearing without pause, knowing additional enemies might be hiding deeper inside. Discipline held despite the sudden violence that had erupted. These men had experienced such moments before and would experience them again before this day ended. Room by room, the soldiers advanced through the structure, checking every space large enough to conceal a human body. They found evidence of hasty departure, including personal belongings abandoned in obvious panic. Photographs of family members lay scattered among military equipment that fleeing soldiers had deemed less important than their own survival. These remnants of individual humanity existed in strange contrast to the violence that had consumed this place and would continue consuming it throughout the day. Basement clearance presented challenges that tested psychological limits even among experienced operators. Descending stairs into darkness, where armed enemies might wait, required courage that transcended normal self-preservation instinct. One soldier took point moving slowly while teammates covered angles from behind. His weapon light cut through blackness, revealing concrete walls and scattered supplies. Movement registered in peripheral vision, and months of combat training produced instant response. The Russian concealed behind storage containers died before completing the motion that would have brought his weapon to bear. Two additional defenders remained hidden somewhere in the basement darkness. The Ukrainian called out, offering them the opportunity to surrender and survive. His words echoed off concrete walls and faded into silence. The Russians had chosen to gamble on remaining concealed rather than trusting promises from an enemy who had just killed their comrade. Half a minute of additional waiting exhausted the Ukrainians' willingness to extend mercy. Fragmentation grenades resolved the standoff with brutal finality. Bodies discovered afterward confirmed that survival had always been available through surrender. Fear or hatred or simple stubbornness had prevented these men from accepting the only choice that could have saved them. War forces such decisions upon everyone caught within its violence. Each man chooses for himself whether to live or die. Drone support transformed clearance operations by providing reconnaissance capabilities that infantry alone could never achieve. Small aircraft hovering above the village detected concentrations of enemy troops and transmitted their positions to ground teams instantly. Agricultural drones converted to bombers delivered explosive payloads onto fortified positions without requiring soldiers to assault them directly. This integration of aerial surveillance and precision strike dramatically reduced casualties compared to traditional urban warfare methods. One group of Russian soldiers was identified and barricaded inside a structure that would have required costly direct assault to capture. The building's thick walls and limited entry points created a defender's paradise that could have consumed multiple Ukrainian lives to overcome. Instead of accepting those casualties, the ground commander requested a drone strike. A converted agricultural aircraft climbed to attack altitude, carrying modified munitions as payload. The operator guided his drone over the target and released it. The explosion eliminated every defender without risking a single Ukrainian soldier. Rescue becomes slaughter. The Russian command had been receiving increasingly desperate reports throughout the morning. Defensive positions were being overrun faster than anyone had anticipated. Casualties mounted without any corresponding damage to attacking forces. Requests for artillery support and airstrikes went unanswered as those assets were committed to other sectors. The only remaining option was ground reinforcement by units close enough to arrive before the village fell completely. A BMP-3 infantry fighting vehicle loaded with elite soldiers departed within an hour of the first distress calls. These special forces troops were expected to stabilize the situation through aggressive counterattack. They rode on the vehicle's exterior rather than inside its compartment, believing speed mattered more than protection on this mission. Their objective was to break through Ukrainian positions and establish a perimeter that could hold until additional reinforcements arrived. They drove directly into a trap that had been prepared the moment their departure was detected. Ukrainian observation drones tracked the approaching vehicle across open terrain that offered no concealment from aerial surveillance. Operators monitored its progress, while strike assets were vectored toward intercept positions. The Russians had no idea that their every movement was being watched and that weapons were already being prepared to receive them. Their focus remained fixed on reaching the village in time to matter. That focus prevented them from recognizing the death converging on them from multiple directions. The first FPV drone launched when the Russian vehicle entered optimal engagement range. The small aircraft accelerated toward its target, carrying an explosive payload capable of penetrating the vehicle's armor. The operator watched through his camera as the BMP grew larger in his display. Soldiers riding exposed on the exterior never detected the threat until impact. The explosion ripped through the troop compartment, killing several instantly and throwing others from the vehicle into the dirt. Survivors found themselves stranded in open ground, with hostile drones circling overhead, waiting for any sign of movement. Some attempted crawling toward cover that seemed impossibly distant. Others lay motionless, hoping to be overlooked by operators who could observe every centimeter of the kill zone. Neither strategy offered realistic hope against weapons specifically designed to hunt exposed infantry. Additional drones engaged survivors systematically until the reinforcement mission existed only as scattered bodies and burning wreckage. A second Russian vehicle attempted to reach the village through an alternate route. Ukrainian observers detected this approach as well and redirected strike assets toward the new target. The driver accelerated to maximum speed, hoping that different tactics might produce different results than the slaughter that had consumed the first relief column. His optimism proved fatal within minutes of entering the engagement zone. Multiple weapon systems engaged the second vehicle in sequence, demonstrating the layered destruction Ukrainian forces had mastered. First drones struck the engine, attempting to halt forward progress. The BMP continued moving despite damage as its crew refused to abandon their mission. Grenade launchers fired from concealment, scoring hits that degraded protective systems. Anti-tank guided missiles added their warheads to the accumulating destruction. The vehicle that had departed carrying elite soldiers became a burning coffin containing their remains. Russian artillery attempted to influence the battle through bombardment, despite lacking ground forces capable of exploiting its effects. Shells began falling across the village, striking areas where Ukrainian troops had been observed. The fire was indiscriminate, affecting structures still occupied by Russian defenders alongside intended targets. Several Russian soldiers died from artillery fired by their own forces. The bombardment demonstrated desperation rather than tactical competence. One Ukrainian soldier was trapped when artillery collapsed the structure where his team had taken shelter. His comrades began rescue operations, immediately digging through debris while explosions continued around them. Every second mattered as the weight of rubble threatened to crush their trapped brother. They worked with desperate efficiency, using improvised levers to shift heavy concrete. The evacuation vehicle departed under fire, carrying the wounded man toward surgical facilities that represented his only chance for survival. By afternoon, Ukrainian forces controlled every corner of what had once been a Russian stronghold. The village itself was unrecognizable as a human settlement. Burned structures and collapsed walls marked locations where fighting had consumed the day. But strategic objectives had been achieved. Russian forces had been annihilated or captured. The defensive position that had anchored this section of front was permanently eliminated. The final engagement occurred when surviving Russian soldiers attempted to escape in a vehicle hidden during the assault. Ukrainian drones pursued them across open terrain, releasing payloads that wounded the driver and ignited the vehicle. It began circling uncontrollably when the driver slumped against steering controls. This grotesque motion continued until final strikes ended it. Prisoners captured provided intelligence about Russian operations throughout the region. Their information would inform future Ukrainian assaults against similar positions. This operation revealed in vivid detail the devastating capability that unfolds when advanced Western equipment is paired with the courage, discipline, and tactical brilliance of Ukrainian forces. The Abrams tank did more than participate in the battle. It confirmed yet again why it is regarded as the world's most formidable armored vehicle. Its reinforced armor withstood enemy fire that would have destroyed other vehicles. Its advanced targeting systems enabled precise strikes at critical positions, and its mobility allowed Ukrainian crews to maneuver fluidly across contested terrain, striking quickly and retreating when necessary. Every engagement demonstrated the unmatched combination of technology and skill, reinforcing the tank's reputation as a game-changing asset on the modern battlefield. Equally impressive were the Ukrainian Special Forces, who displayed urban combat expertise that Russian defenders could not counter. Their ability to navigate narrow streets, breach fortified structures, and maintain relentless pressure in close-quarters battles highlighted a mastery of city warfare rarely seen. Each maneuver, from tactical flanking to coordinated room clearing, was executed with exact timing and discipline, creating confusion and panic among defenders while maximizing offensive efficiency. What truly set this operation apart was the flawless integration of all battlefield elements: armor units, infantry, reconnaissance drones, artillery support, and electronic warfare teams functioned as one cohesive system. Information flowed instantly between units. Strikes were synchronized with precision, and every attack compounded the effects of the last, leaving Russian forces no chance to mount a coherent defense. The assault unfolded as a single, unstoppable wave of destruction, where every part complemented the other, achieving objectives faster than any isolated action could have done. If this detailed breakdown helped you understand how modern combined arms warfare operates, hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Which element of this operation impressed you the most? The Abrams tank's firepower, the Special Forces' urban expertise, or the synchronized assault as a whole? Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our comprehensive military analysis. We bring you the most detailed combat coverage available anywhere. See you in the next video.